Hello, hi. If we've not met before, just in case, I'm Lindsay and I'm a mum to Eliza, she's my PDA, and I host a Facebook space, a community called Peace with PDA. So that's where you may have found me, but may not know my face or my name. If you're a parent to a PDA, you may have come across my work. As an energy therapist, I love to come and share about one of my really favourite tools, which is called EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. We also call it EFT Tapping because it's well known by its sort of popular nickname of tapping. And we tap on some acc-points on the face and body like this, which really soothes the nervous system and really calms down that primal part of our brain that we all know so well as the parents we are, that sets off that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. My work is serving you as parents to look after yourselves so that you can find your calm, your center. You can release that stress and that tension and that pressure and that overwhelm and find yourself again so that you can really lean in and bring what you want to in your parenting and hold space for your children and young people as they move through their big emotions and explore the world through young eyes and try and make sense of it. You know, it's always that parallel dance of relationship, isn't it? As they have stuff go on and they grow, it also brings up stuff in us and we're growing and we're learning. And so I like to work with you to support you on your journey, and EFT is a tool that I love to give you because it's a self-help technique. It's free and it's really easy to learn, and it's just so simple and quick to show you how to do it, and it's free, and yet it's just so effective. So it's absolutely brilliant for PDA parents who often find me at their point of stress or a point of stress when they feel like really they have no time, no resources to plug into what they so desperately need, you know, and it can feel like this really complex paradox, can't it, where I desperately need support and help, but that feels overwhelming to access. So this is like a little bridge for you. Here's something you can start with that really you can bring in right now, you know, while you're in the bathroom, before you fall asleep, when you wake up in the morning, when you're on the other side of a door, supporting through a difficult time. This is something you can use for you right now, which is really quick and easy and has an immediate impact in very real time and in very tangible ways. And because of that, I find that people are often curious, particularly organisations and professionals who reach out to me are very curious about the science behind EFT tapping and emotional freedom techniques. And the thing is, I'm not really the science girl, but I don't want to do the technique a disservice by not talking about it, because there is a lot of science to back it up. So this came to my mind because at the point that I'm recording this video, I was just having a discussion this week with my husband, who is always knowing what's going on out in the world and filtering it through to me very beautifully, who's otherwise oblivious. And he was saying that scientists have just discovered proved the existence of negative time. What does that even mean? But the idea that an outcome can happen before the input is like, whoa. You know, when science unveils these things, for me, you know, I think we have to stop and consider not only how mind-blowing that is, but how much continually we don't even know that we don't know. We walk through life with such a perception of certainty, of things like time. You know, just talking about time, we have an idea that we understand how it works, and we move through it unconsciously with such certainty. And actually then science comes along with something like quantum physics, something like the existence of negative time, and just says everything you know is just nonsense. We're like babies on the mat making noises and trying to work out how our hands move. You know, we just don't know, and that's okay, isn't it? I'm okay with that. I'm happy to sit in that I don't know and just accept that. And my preferred style of learning, and therefore what I tend to bring through my work, is experiential. It's very feeling based, you know, it's not the sciencey stuff. And I have a few books that are very useful for if you want to learn the technique. But if you really want to understand the proof and the science that's developed around EFT tapping and emotional freedom techniques, then I will put a link with this video in the description so that you can find to the main founder of EFT's website, where you can see lots of links to articles and lots of articles that talk about people's experience. Because the thing is that EFT tapping was actually founded by a guy called Gary Craig, who wasn't woo-woo, he wasn't alternative, he was an engineer, you know, so he has a very logical way of unfolding this technique and has been very proof-based. And the motivation started a lot around people who were war veterans and trying to support them with their post-traumatic stress. And so you can see why it really has an impact on the nervous system, and lots of overlaps with the work I do with parents, you know, in that time of heightened stress. And so there's a lot of work around that because they really wanted to get it into the military. But these days, it's you see it all the time in programs. I was watching just a daft show that I watched with my husband the other day, and someone's there and they're tapping. And they're using tapping, and celebrities use it and they talk about it. They use it before they go on stage for their stage fright, to calm and soothe their panic and overwhelm. So, you know, it's very out there and talked about. It's not really new anymore. But we know, don't we, as PDA parents, that it takes a really long time for things to get acknowledged, you know, and we still find, just as EFT is used in the NHS, there will be many who don't know about it, even though it's really embraced in the NHS, particularly for supporting cancer patients with their symptoms and the side effects as they're going through treatment, but lots of other ways to help patients to relax and to support their healing by tapping into their body's innate sense of calm and well-being. And you know, there's a lot that can go on to do with pain and illness, which is really connected to what's going on in our mind. So EFT really supports with that, and the NHS really actually use it a lot. But just like if you go and see a practitioner and you talk about PDA, it might well be in their manual, but they might know nothing about it. It's not widely accepted, even though it's there, and you're going to get people who embrace it and know it, and people who think you're completely nuts and don't know anything about it. So, you know, we know these things take a really long time to get integrated. When I did my training, it was a long time ago now. It was over 2 decades ago, and I did the original training with the original founder, Gary Craig, and I think it was even in video format. I think it was that old, and it was that point that maybe me and the person who trained me, we kind of were converting it to DVDs because we were moving into DVDs, you know. So I've been working with it a really long time and seeing a lot of developments. And actually now, and the founder himself has launched what he calls Optimal EFT, and the last few years I've gone back and trained in Optimal EFT, and they use much less of the tapping than they used to, and I bring both into my work and I use both for myself. The Optimal EFT for some people can feel a bit less tangible. It tends to work for people who are very faith-based or spiritual, or have a lot of trust in their inner knowing in their body. And for some people it can feel really just not concrete enough. And actually they really like the soothing and the and actually just that something to do with the hands, that kind of the distraction and the support of that technique feels much more grounded and substantial for people. So people have all kinds of different preferences. There are all kinds of different ways to bring in EFT or emotional freedom techniques to your life, and different ones work for different people. I find, you know, I tend to work with people who are more around my generation, and we are doing a lot of, as parents, healing work, deconditioning work, you know, a lot of release work, a lot of letting go, a lot of finding who we are underneath a lot of layers. Our children and young people, a lot of them are coming through, blessed to have us as parents who are holding a very different space for them, and they're actually able to express themselves and find themselves in a different way. They might not have these same layers of societal and family conditioning. So they might not need the same things as us, you know, so it's really important for me that we don't assume that what's for us is what's for them. But it is a really supportive technique that it is child's play. So children and young people, if they enjoy it and it feels good to them and it feels right for them and they welcome it, it is a fantastic technique for them too. So it is something you can bring into your family, but the work I do is really for you. And I just wanted to come and share a bit about that. EFT is no longer fringe, but I know that I'm a bit fringe and I'm absolutely fine with that. You know whether you're my tribe, whether you're my community, am I speaking your language or not? You know, the right people, you tend to find me and we find each other, and we're on this beautiful journey of community support, but also community expansion and growth and awareness. And you know, that's a personal journey and it's also a group journey. And we are, you know, as we are uncovering and finding ourselves underneath all these layers, we open new possibilities for what it can be to be a parent to a PDA, and what the possibilities are about what our PDA's children, you know, what their lives can be, what the possibilities are. And that again is that beautiful mirror. What can be for them can also be for us. So I'm so passionate about this work because I was doing this work with EFT before I had my daughter, but having her has been the most profound journey. You know, when you have a child who is so clear to the truth of who they are unapologetically, and because of their design, because they can't bend in some ways, it holds us in relationship in this incredible space around them to really have to journey inside. And when they are so held in the need for freedom, we notice as parents all the ways that we are both consciously and unconsciously not feeling free. You're feeling trapped. And it enables us to start to have our own really incredible, powerful journey with freedom and uncover all the stuff that we've carried and buried and held as blocks inside that hold us back from that. That's what excites me in my work. And the science is out there backing up this technique and why it works. And so if you want to know about that, I thoroughly encourage you to do that. And just because it's not what I bring doesn't mean it's not there. And it's really important for me to say that for two reasons. And one is because we are not all the same, and we all have different learning styles. And I show up unapologetically as me and bring me, but I encourage you to know yourself and know what you need. And if you are somebody who likes to have a written path of learning, or you like to have a lot of research base, then those possibilities are all there for you, even though it's not what I bring. And also, if you are somebody who is a practitioner or holding some sense of authority in a professional body that affects our community here, I want it to be available for you to notice that this is a very ethical and science-based technique that can support a lot of parents here, not because it's about building me up, but because I want it to be something which is talked about and available if it's supporting people. So I will put in the description the link to the current version of the original founder of EFT's website, because I find that's where the most accurate and grounded information about this technique can be found. There is a lot out there. You can go on YouTube, you can go on Google and find a lot about EFT tapping. There's beautiful videos that you can follow along with. There are meditations you can follow along with. And I think they're all gorgeous and beautiful and helpful. And also, a lot of them are not true in their essence to the teachings of EFT in the way that is measurable. And so sometimes something's lost in this area that we're talking about. However, if you find it and you enjoy it and it helps you and it works for you, for me, that's what matters. So I'm not discouraging you from doing that. Just holding true to the topic of this video, that for whatever reason I felt inspired to come and make today. I hope you have a glorious day, and I will catch you when I catch you. Lots of love from me. Bye.